so that they stop doing a job when they get hungry. Otherwise, bad things happen. Granted, I guess nobody has food right now. Oh, here comes the first guy with all the information. And that's kind of our circular area. Oh, and he might have had some trouble with the height differences out here. That might have been why he was walking around funny. Do I increase the path offset? What path offset? I don't really think there's a path offset here. I mean, all I do, it's just a basic while loop, and we're just pulling them out. It's just pulling out the elements that it's walking to next. The other guy's probably long dead, which is probably why he hasn't come back yet. Am I using boost? No. This engine pretty much re-implements a lot of stuff by hand. His linked list is an invasive linked list class he's designed himself. The array class is also like non-invasive, if you like that style. Same with his hash stuff, is all invasive. A lot of his data structures are invasive. Alright, so let's see here. I mean, it looks like it's doing its job, just oddly. Planned position starts at the origin. Oh, crap. It's because I'm overwriting this every time. That's why. Ta-da! Bug fix. Let's see if this this guy wanders in a little bit more of a sensical pattern now. Okay, he wanders to the center, and then proceeds to go from cell to cell in a closest fashion. Much better, much cleaner. That's all I needed. I was just accidentally, I put the while loop too far out, and it was catching too much code on the inside. Whoops. Alright guys, so this is, I'm going to take a quick bio break for a moment. I also like how he can wander through the water, because it's not, I don't think it's deep enough for him to consider a height difference big enough to cause trouble, so he can walk through it. But I'm going to take a quick bio break, get some food, because my stomach is making noises. Ooh, and there we go. See, that's kind of cool. I told him to scout this area, and he came back with a block that was ever so slightly larger than what we already know. Cool. So anyway, I'm going to take a quick bio break, get food, refill a little bit. If you guys are here for the first time, and you might be because this is not my normal streaming hours. Normally I do a Wednesday evening and a Saturday afternoon-ish. But I'm going to be streaming a lot more often. So if you like what you see, if you like kind of the conversation or the just the constant stream of talking I do, which requires a lot of water on my part, you know, please hit the follow button. It's fantastic to have as many of you along for the ride as I can get. If only because I learn stuff from you guys as well, as I hope I teach from you guys as well. It's fantastic to have you guys helping me out, and I hope that you guys kind of, those of you who are programmers, are learning, you know, little things here and there, if not, you know, just things not to do, because I do stupid stuff every once in a while. Either way, I will be right back. Probably got to give me the better part of, like, more than a couple minutes just so I can make a sandwich, stuff it in my mouth, and use the restroom and fill up on water so that I can keep talking and my throat won't completely hate me at the end of today. But yeah, in fact, let's, I'm going to restart this just for the sake of it. Let's get that here. Ooh, desert. Ta-da, let's put that there. Let's put out a farm, a couple farms so they don't starve. Tell one guy to scout the area in a fairly large area, right? Let's do like 4. That's a pretty big depth. He should be going really far out to do his work, which is fine. There we go. All right. Be right back, guys. Restroom break and other stuff. Food. Food is the big one. My stomach is really unhappy with me right now. Turn that microphone back on. Put a headphone in, because I've still got more food sitting in the microonda. I think is what it's called. Microwave, whatever. Naan. Naan is yummy. Also, where's everyone going? Oh, okay, they're just walking out of visibility range repeatedly. I was wondering. Okay. So let's see. Game's going pretty well. I like that they kind of keep themselves alive, and they're doing all right in terms of, you know, keeping their food going. So let's see. You can see the particle systems when they sleep. That is not supposed to happen. That might need to be turned off. Also just heard the food. One sec. Alrighty. Also, this house is cooling down. So, what else do we got? So we got to figure out what will add to this game. What will make it more complete in terms of both gameplay and also what will make it more interesting. Because now, actually, I should probably commit all that code I just wrote. Put this over here. That's new AI code for scouting out given area. Cool. Let's look at our to-do list. What do we got? And what will give us kind of the most bang for our buck, right? We're looking to make a prototype that is fun and does something for us. Because we're looking for the fun this whole time. What makes this idea fun or interesting? And then we're trying to extract that and add to it. Kind of make it as much fun as we can, just with the prototype alone, so that when we add more content and more other stuff, it's not this, like, oh, well, it's all right on its own and the content makes it fun. Like, I want the main mechanic to be fun on its own. Or interesting on its own, at bare minimum, right? So, let's see here. Combat's kind of a big thing. And that would be pretty helpful. So combat's one thing. Scavenging is another. Essentially, expanding that mission system to be more in-depth might be nice. Also, I talk about cameras and visibility. Cameras should honestly be pretty should easily be one of the earlier things that we get done. At least in terms of buildings, right? And I don't even have it on the list here. Like a camera tower or a camera attachment. This should honestly be more important than some of this other crap. Alright, so more buildings might be very nice. In fact, that might be what I dive into next. Let's see here. Let me think. Let me think. I kind of like combat, but combat's kind of an advanced topic that I haven't thought a lot about. I like to do a little research before I try and program something on the stream, if only because I'd rather not flail about too much in front of you guys. I want to have a plan of attack and not just kind of hastily throw something together. Alright, let's see here. So I'm trying to think of where the value of this game would lie. What would kind of be the most fun thing to have and would add some kind of conflict. Because right now everything seems kind of self-sufficient, right? You've got people who can cut wood down. Wood doesn't really do anything. But they can make their own food once you put down a farm and a supply depot. And then they just sit there and eat that. So, okay. On their own, they won't really grow, but they will sit here and kind of do their thing. So what makes the game difficult, right? That's the kind of big question here. I guess it's not difficult. Or maybe that's what we need to do. So allowing the player to rotate the ghost placement, while nice, isn't something that I feel like is going to add a lot to the game right now. I'm trying to think of something we can do to kind of add some interesting stuff. You know, something, Jammin says enemies and natural disasters, something like that. I'm trying to think of other similar games and all my inspirations. Kind of see what exists. Specifically like Banished and Don't Starve and all these games that have this survival element. So Don't Starve's interesting because... why is it interesting? I guess it's interesting because A, they have random events that try and kill you. B, if you want to do anything interesting, you have to go through their giant crafting system. And then exploring the world is, in and of itself, an interesting prospect. So we've kind of got that. Banished I find to be a little less interesting. It's more management, simulation. So let's do this. Let's make food hard to come by. First. Okay, so let's make food sparse. Right, everything's cranked up so we can debug it. Let's crank it into something more akin to what we would expect in the final game. Specifically, all villager controller. Trees, no. Time for one food to mature. let's make food take a lot longer to mature, firstly. Say it's 10 seconds per food. And then we also make it take a while longer to, actually, let's make this stupidly huge. Hmm. 30 seconds per food. And then tell the villager. Where's the sow food action? Plot sowing logic. So here's a constant that I don't like. Okay, sow time. Not timer, just time. Let's say it takes, I don't know, 5 seconds to sow a single seed. So you go 5, and then it takes another 30. Granted, you could still set up enough farms that if you have them running all the time, it would do that, but then your people wouldn't have much time for anything else, right? Okay, so we've kind of thinned out the food supply. And just with the current job of keeping people alive, that's going to make things a lot more difficult. Let's see here. Also, I'd like to be able to click on these, get some kind of status, show some kind of status even. I apologize, I'm sniffling a lot. My nose is like unhappy. It's almost like a, I don't know, almost like an allergy, but not quite. It's bizarre. Okay, so we've got one farm. I also like how there's this like outcropping that's completely buggering my ability to put down more farms and other things. Like I can't, let's see, can we put one down here? We probably can't. Yeah, okay. So one fits there. We can put one out here, but they require somebody to walk way the heck out of their way to get to it. Okay, so food is an issue, right? We've already got a food shortage pretty constantly going on. This person's hungry, they're storing resources, there's no food at all. I should probably start them with some food somehow. If only because they're kind of starving right off the bat. Wow. These farms are taking a long time. These people might starve in the time it takes for the farms to be ready. That's insane. Kind of awesome. I mean, that's the thing. I don't want this to be a completely sustainable option. Or at least, if it is, I want it to take up a lot of the player's resources to make this a sustainable option. Okay, here comes somebody to the farm who is... Nope, they're cutting down trees still. Really? Really? Wow. They are. They're all going to starve before this farm becomes ready. Oh, because it's time for one food to create. Interesting. I'm waiting for somebody to go to this farm, but I really don't think they're going to make it. Okay, so... or they'll fall asleep first. So let's see, what can we work with here? We've got... Oh, you just died. You, at least as a sleeping person, might survive to go get some of this food. Let's let's give them a starting location with a cache of food to start with. Right? Let's start to form this into the game that we want it to be, so that we can get the mechanics in and actually play it. Because right now I've been making a toy. I've been doing all these interesting mechanics that, while they're kind of cool in their own way, I realize my camera's way out of place, or at least from where it usually is. Just so when I waggle my hands, you can see them. Really? You're not? You're about to die. No food? No food. Okay. So let's give him a food resource here. Like, the first one you build gives you 100 or something. Just so that it's not too stupidly impossible to get this running. Okay, so let's see here. Let's make this take longer, but then reduce the amount of time on the farm. And then, what we're also going to do, since we've got the people like walking around and doing their own thing, in the meantime, what I think we should do is find a way to generate a starting area. That's really the hard part here. Finding a way to generate a start point that has something like, I know Banished has like, here's a wagon with some resources in it, right? Very basic stuff. But something that can act like a small storage shed, essentially, that you can only deposit, or not, you can only retrieve from, you can't deposit. Or even just like a mini, even just like a stash of food sitting on the ground would be better than nothing. Also, music. Did you stop? You stopped. How dare you? Okay. Okay, let's see here. Gotta get this train a-rolling, otherwise it won't leave the station. First one you build, we'll give some resources to. We'll just do that for now. Basic, simple thing. First one you build. That would live inside of our storage shed. Whoops. And of course I do that in the wrong window. This would be our storage shed. If it's the first one. Actually, first should start true. Haha, if it's the first one, then we do this, else we do this. And we're just going to do this pretty simply, because, say it's 100 food just to start with, just to give them some time to get up and running. Okay, so we've got this, and we say first is false after this first time. So, let's see, put it down here. And just to get this stuff started, let's put down some of these farms. And you are sowing seeds, good. And you'll notice there is food existing in the system, which is nice. We should see them as they get hungry start to take out from the food. Although, maybe not for a little bit longer. Okay, so the new areas are opening up. That's good. So what do we get now? We get to this point where First off, new food resources would be nice. I see people talking about what kind of stuff I could add in. Yeah, I was thinking berry bushes, something simple. And here are people who have started eating. There we go. We're already down. Actually, a lot of food. Holy heck. What's funny is there's only 10 of them. I'm kind of amazed that they ate as much as they did. Huh. Okay, well, we'll let them continue to eat inordinate amounts of food. I'm actually going to stare at this guy because he's about to hit the point of needing more food. Yeah, okay, so I'm staring at... Part of me is just waiting for some of these food sources to come into usage, but holy heck, they really aren't. Okay. So, food is slim. We need to come up with some more resources that can give food. And then we also need to come up with ways to scavenge, ways to pick food out of a pile of stuff that may or may not be all that great. Let's see here. Stretch my hands a little bit. My wrists are feeling a little stressed out and overused, unfortunately. Let's see. This is kind of the design side, right? It's a lot of fun to put some of this stuff in place. But at the same time, it also can take a lot of thought, and this is kind of the side that you guys don't see. I spend a lot of time looking at this game and trying to figure out what to do and research stuff kind of off stream, just so that when I come on stream, I already know what I'm doing and I don't spend a lot of time doing what I'm doing right now, right? Just sitting here kind of, what comes next? Right? So this is kind of the side of game design not many people see too often, but it's an important side. And I love how the wood is indeed going upwards and upwards and upwards, but the food is actually still, man, it's still going. Still going down, specifically. So I don't want to give up food too easily. So a lot of the suggestions you guys are coming up with are good suggestions, but I don't want to give up food too easily. I want food to be a difficult resource to come by, right? That should be one of the main things that drives this game, is a scarcity of food. If you can just sit here and kind of create your own little city and play around with it, and there's no real challenge involved in finding food, that's not interesting. I want to find something that is interesting in this, and then I want to kind of jump in and find risky but rewarding ways to get food. Kind of the same way that when you go out and like Oregon Trail and shoot things, you have a chance of getting hurt. You know, you have a chance of other things happening, and that's really something that I want to embrace here. Yeah, finding an old camp. So scavenging, I said, was on the list. Like, I definitely want the idea of scavenging to be something that can happen. Let's see here. So what do we add is the question. What would give us some more depth to the gameplay? I think scavenging would give us the most. If we randomly placed things in the world, and then the person who is out scouting could scavenge as well, that might be an interesting way to bring extra food back in when food isn't normally coming back in. Also, I'm going to take another glance at this. Where's the farm stuff? Breakpoint, please. How much sown food is left? 3. Oh god. Okay, so it takes... There's 20 food per farm. And 20 by that 20 seconds is 400 seconds. So that comes out to literal minutes before this food is good. That might be a little too much. Just for now, let's cut that down. Also, let's jump in on getting the scavenging in place. I like the idea of scavenging being a good way, but also a temporary way to find food. You have to send your guys out further and further, hoping that you find something. Also, berry bushes are nice, because if you scatter them far enough apart from each other, then you get to this point where, yes, you have to send people out to unsafe spaces, and you don't really want to... You don't want to send people out because you're afraid they might not come back for one reason or another, right? So we need dangers, and we want some kind of resource that gives food that is not close to home, or even if it is close to home, it's not an easily or often available object. So I like berry bushes as kind of a, like, you can pick the berries off of them and you have to wait for it to regrow. You have to wait for the resource to refresh. So I'm going to, first off, I have no art, right? I am the singular artist for this, which is not the most time-sensitive thing I could manage, but it's how it goes when you don't have, I don't know, you don't have the money to spend to just like dump on a 3D artist and be like, I need these now, please. You end up making a lot of stuff yourself, and that's fine. Vegetation textures, ooh, I like some vegetation textures and bushes and stylistic plants. Simple bush that looks like a cloud, honestly. I'm really surprised. Okay. Is there anything here I really like? Not particularly. Not too particularly. I kind of like some of this stuff, although the texturing is kind of ugly. It might be possible to snag something from here and be interesting. This is pretty, but much more realistic than I think I ever want my stuff to be. I mean, you'll notice how simple and easy all of my textures look. These are all photorealistic things that, they're a bit much. Even this is a little overkill. Let's see here, Bush 3D model. Of course, now that I say Bush 3D model, I'm like, oh great, I'm going to get the president too. So I'm looking at specifically low polygon count stuff, not because I have some kind of technical limitation, but mostly just because I like the look of a lot of low polygon stuff, especially when you cut out a lot of texture detail. You end up doing a lot of work with simply the just the vertex coloring. You do the best you can, and it makes some very interesting looking art. That's kind of the style I've been going for so far, which is why you'll notice I have sprites for my main characters. And stuff like this very much interests me. I like this idea of very simple art. Something that I could even possibly make, right? That would be fantastic. I'd be the happiest if I could simply create something like this and be like, alright, here's all my trees. Now granted, despite the fact that I put in bush, I'm getting trees. Although I guess I could probably just take the top of some of these trees, which are just like randomized polygons, specifically probably something like a dodecahedron, randomize the polygons a little bit, plop it on the ground, and be done. And not really care after that. Yeah, I think that's what I might end up doing. Which is easy enough to get done at the very least. It's just kind of wishing there was something here that I could, like, steal some details from. Like, this I kind of like. That's kind of cute. Yeah, I'm not seeing much better, so let's go for that. Yada, yada, yada. Nope. Okay, fine. Let's go for this. Let's do it. So it looks like kind of a mixture of a certain very specific polygon, and then they're just randomizing certain vertices on it. It's almost to the point where I wonder if I could do it procedurally, but I'm not going to worry about that for now. I don't care enough to do that for now. Hey, it's a square. Don't care. Render, add, mesh, icosphere, ecosphere, icosphere, whatever. We don't really want anti-aliasing. And we also, how many subdivisions? Ooh, I like less subdivisions. That makes life nice and easy. Also, what's this? Oh, I have a light and a camera in the scene. Bye, camera. Delete. Lamp. Delete. Don't care. Alright. Hey, look. There we go. 0.5. No, come on. Is that's in the ground and then some. Looks good. Grab this. And now you'll get to see just how good a programmer's skills are when it comes to... In fact, let's make these go away. We don't want these faces, only edges and faces. Yes? No, that's not good. That's too many. Dissolve the faces? Okay, better. I haven't used Blender in quite some time. So we're just going to delete the faces. There we go. That's what I was hunting for. And then we just kind of randomize some of these, right? So grab vertices, play with vertices. And yeah, you're kind of seeing the paramount of what programmer art tends to look like, which is not terribly pretty. I do wish I had, actually, maybe I could do that now. I could spend a fair hunk of time and maybe say, oh, I should work on my my 3D art skills right now, but I honestly would rather be making games. Also, let's turn off the sticking. And that looks a little I pull these back out this way and then out this way a little bit. I want it square-ish at least. There we go. That's kind of randomized and fugly in its own pretty way. Alright. It's vertex paint. Let's get some paint. Hey, look, it's a bush, guys. Okay, so that's kind of ugly. Let's make it, first off, let's get the colors right. And then we can do a little slight modification to the vertex coloring. And we'll see if we can get this to look any prettier. Specifically, we can get some shadows in just off the vertex coloring. And then the other thing we can do, yes, this looks like a rock that's green, great. The other thing we can do is make some slight changes. For example, let's get a vertex here. Whoop. Let's get this vertex. That's a bit different. We don't want big changes in color. We want just slight little changes, right? Shouldn't be enough to like burn anybody's eyes out or do anything that makes it too obvious. Let's see here. Let's get this one. So you kind of look at it and see some variation in color. Nothing too heavy, but I want it to be different enough. Right? Because programmer art is not about making something that is good. It's about making something that's good enough that you can get away with it. There we go. That looks alright. This edge looks a little fugly. Like extra ugly. So let's... There we go. A little yellow. That looks pretty good, you know, for a berry bush. And we also should probably toss, like, mesh. I don't know. Let's get more circle. No. So what we probably want to do, I'm going to see if I can do this right in Blender. I have no idea. How do I do this? Ah! Okay. Add mesh. Let's go for another icosphere. Except we are going to scale this sucker down. And also, whoops, I noticed that I lost my settings the moment I did that. Icosphere. We can't do 0. So let's just size it way the heck down. Hey, there we go. And this is separate. Good. In fact, if anything, what we want to do is we want to... Oh gosh, it's been so long since I've done this. Add a empty node. Sure. We'll use plain axes. And our empty will be at dead center. Yeah, close enough. Or good enough. And what we're going to do is we're going to take all these, you're going to be named bush, and you are going to be the berry group. And then inside this berry group, we're going to actually take all these nodes, and we're going to create a little cute structure here that will allow us to turn the berries on and off pretty easily. And is that a good size, right? You're going to be looking at it from like this distance. So let's see here. It's vertex paint. Get me some red. Maybe a somewhat deep red, maybe. Let's darken it a little. See, and this is why I am not a 3D artist. This is kind of the best I can do. Come on. The worst part is I'm a better critic. I can look at other people's 3D art and be like, yeah, you've got some aliasing on this edge. But when it comes to actually making the 3D art myself, I am no good. And once again, little variation here. Just to make some of these edges ever so slightly different. There we go. That looks pretty good. As a berry. Then we can just call you berry. Copy, paste. Nope. No, really? Basic copy and paste, Blender? You're missing it? Or, watch, it's some obscure key combination that I've just never seen before. Yeah, whatever. We'll just make some more mesh. Another one. And we're gonna pull it over here and hide this one a little more maybe, just so it's not obvious that, like, these are just sticking out of it. Object mode, texture paint. Nope, let's get that red back. Really? Can I not? I want to paint. I want to paint. I must paint. Texture paint. Why aren't you playing nice? You are fine. We put you under our berry group. And you will be berry 2. I don't even think it cares. I bet I could name these all. Nope, I can't quite name them all the same. Oh, okay, I see what the vertex paint has. You? No, I want you, and I want you vertex painting. There we go. Ta-da! It's pretty! Let's get some colors on the underside, because people totally look there. Let's get some bright. Use it for the top. What's funny is I know some 3D artists who would scream at me for some of the stuff I'm making and be like, oh my god, you're doing wrong. This is the ugliest thing you've ever done. And they might be right. I don't know. Nor do I care, though. At some point, I will hire a 3D artist and they will do all this correctly. Good enough. Good enough for government work. Which is why I don't do government work most of the time. Let's pull that berry out a little more. There we go. Add a new mesh. That's right, more icospheres. I don't actually know. Using duplicate? Oh. Delete. Yes. You. Shift D. Oh, hey, look at the. Whoa, that's magical. Let's put some berries all over this thing then. And do you keep your vertex coloring? Yes, you do. Of course you do. That's almost nice looking. Alright. Alright. It's fine. We can do this. Duplicate. Come on. Work with me here. Duplicate. No, we don't actually want to be stuck to an axis. Can we not? There we go. I just wanted to rotate the camera, I swear. Let's do... There we go. See? All our little berries. From a distance, I want to make sure that the berries are kind of visible at every angle, if only so that as the player rotates the camera, if there are berries on the bush, there's no time when a couple berries aren't active, just so you can tell where they are. There we go. And this is definitely overkill in terms of like polygons for simplicity, but I don't really care. Okay. Cool. Save as terrible berry bush. Without the terrible though. Berry bush. Yay. And we have to specifically export it as an OpenGEX file. There we go. Now we crack open the engine. And new world file. Import scene. Game models. Berry bush. Hey, look at that. Now, granted, it's not showing us everything right now, but it looks like it imported correctly. And it's not showing us our material correctly. So let's import the vertex coloring material. And then all of you set material. Hey, look at that. It's a little berry bush. Woohoo! And finally, we save it to a model resource so that we can use it in the game. Nice, simple, easy stuff. Easy peasy. I'm gonna get that out of here. Okay, we've got our berry bush. It's, whoops. Haha, I also closed the Twitch window. Sorry, guys. Well, it'll clear chat for me. Alright, so we're going to clear the engine. And we're going to go back to what we were kind of messing with, and that is so I'm trying to avoid the micromanagement here, but at the same time trying to come up with a good way to register this as a job, or as a possible job. A berry bush controller. Too many R's. There we go. Terrain controller. I mean, this doesn't need to do much. It's pretty much going to be actually very similar to the farm plot controller, probably. So I'm going to copy and paste that one. Fog, sun, construction. Let's put it actually right in, even underneath the farm plot, just so I can find it easily. It's going to be our berry bush controller. And this is a resource source container. This name is terrible, but okay. We'll have a food count. And we'll say time to replenish. And this is the collect job being sent. Is at max food. Let's see here. The food count being greater than or equal to that. And then it's not really a sown food count anymore. Get available food count. And this should be a set available food count. We don't care about these. And we will have to fill in this move function. But just the couple functions that we have here. That's really all we'll need. Alright. This is the collect job that we're worried about. Food count. And it's time to replenish. Alright. So when you say collect resource, let's see, if you can carry it, we subtract 1 from the food count. I'm just kind of tearing down a lot of the basic stuff. Simplifying it out, or simplifying all the stuff. Let's see here. Max food should definitely not be 20 at this point. Yeah. Pekka's definitely got that right. The max food here should not be much. Little bits so you can collect a bunch from a few bushes, but it won't be enough to feed a ton. In fact, we're going to make that kind of pathetically small, just so that it's something that's useful, but not too useful. And the other thing, so we don't have this if statement anymore, which means we can remove this, and if we do that, it will reformat nicely. And this is time to replenish. This will be our food count plus plus. And if the food count is equal to the max food count, then we're going to send out a job that says come collect it. Why is this in two places? Oh, I see. This has its two separate jobs that it bounces between, and that's not how berry bushes work. Berry bushes. So also, I don't think berry bushes should specifically send out their own jobs, because there's so many of them, right? We don't want them... They will overrun everything. They'll set and register so many jobs that I don't think we actually want it registering jobs in the first place. So I'm actually going to remove this. Okay. So we've got the berry bush. The berry bush will replenish its food. Oh, also, the other thing to keep in mind here, I guess, is we should say if the food count is less than the max food count. Also, this is not prefixed correctly. I like to have prefixes on things just so it's obvious. And also so when I go to use IntelliSense, I can kind of fake it into doing what I want. Also, I keep using the tab system when I really, really should be continuing to use their auto formatting. But whatever, not worried. If the food count is less than that. Good. So, now we need to create some kind of logic to have the person, or have a person, go collect berries, right? Either as a job, or as part of a mission might also be nice. Especially if you can tell somebody, I need you to go out and scout this area, and like while they're out scouting, they're like, I see berries and I'm hungry. Maybe I should go grab some. Oh, and I just realized why everybody grabbed a ton of food all at once. Interesting. I'm going to look at the AI real quick. I just realized there may or may not be a bug in here somewhere. Specifically up in the job coordinator stuff, where we say, if you're hungry, Huh. Okay, no bug that I see. I am imagining bugs where they do not exist. So the world generation needs to add these berry bushes in. Otherwise, they just, first off, won't even exist. So, let's see here. So water nodes are cool. Okay, here's trees. And we want to do something similar for trees. Also, I should probably split out some of the world generation stuff into its own functions, because this is getting huge, and honestly, it's becoming too much. So let's create a few more functions here, such as spawn trees, right? Just to break up the code and make it a little more readable. Let's see here, do you hang on to anything? No. So we probably should pass it a cell graph pointer. And anything else. We probably want to pass it, let's see, it's got size. Or a range. A range would be nice as well. Let's just go for size for now. So you want to pass it that, you want to pass it the size. We also want to pass it I don't know. That should be it, actually. That should be enough. Cell array. Spawn trees. Oh, we probably want to pass it the world, too. Specifically the game world. Come on, you should be uppercase. There we go. This is the world generator that we are going to just move some functionality around just so I can read this better. Because that's really the thing I'm running into, is that I had one giant function holding a lot of my data. And I kind of wanted to break stuff into its little bits and pieces. Oh, I shouldn't be passing an instance to the game world. I should be passing a pointer to the game world. Text message. Sorry about the distraction. Let's see here. Water height. Where does that come from? Water height. Ah, it's a constant out here. Ugh. Okay. Let's get this constant out of the function and into a place that is a little more tenable. And eventually we might swap this out with something a little more, I don't know, what's the term? Something a little more dynamic, more interesting. Have a water height that fluctuates, something like that. Also, the tree supernode should be something that I should be able to grab earlier. Where did that go? Here it is. This should be part of spawn trees, right? Generating the tree supernode and all those details is definitely something. Oh, okay. Size, and that should be that. And see, just by moving all that logic out, it does us a few favors all at once. First off, it becomes really obvious what happens inside this function, but it also gets the function out of the way, and all that giant hunk of code, what is that? That's starts at 175 and goes, that's about 30 lines of code. It takes those 30 lines of code, shifts them somewhere else, and allows us to kind of contain it and put it on the side so that we don't worry too much about the details of what goes on in there. We don't really care. The same way we could take the create terrain geometry, put that into its own. We probably should do that as well. Although I'm not too worried. Let's at least break the water. Create water geometry. Cell graph. Game world. And I actually don't think it needs size inside that. Void world generator. Create water geometry. Cell graph. Pointer. Cell graph. And the game world. Cool. Ooh, I should check that stuff out. I liked Heart Lexicon's the work she was doing on her bot looked very, very well coded. So I definitely should check that out at some point. Just so I can refer people that direction if, say, you know, they do something or some beginner is looking for something. Alright, so the cell material array. Looks like I was reusing variables, and I really shouldn't. I really shouldn't. There we go. This is what I want. What you want? There we go. That, and of course, this function doesn't actually exist, or it's not declared, I should say. I should be specific about that. It's defined, but not declared. There we go. That's much better. Much better. And now this code is much simpler, right? Create water geometry, spawn trees. These two can live next to each other, and I don't feel like they're clashing in any way, shape, or form. Town center stuff, visibility stuff. So somewhere in here, we need also a spawn berry bushes. And actually, can I leave size out of spawn trees? Spawn berry bushes. That's going to go under spawn trees. And we kind of need to do the same thing, honestly. Trees per square area, so, okay. So let's just dump it into the tree first, and then once we're done putting things into the tree, specifically getting these berry bushes into the geometry tree, I guess I should say the node tree, from there we'll figure out how to get them to be a resource that is kind of smartly recognized by the game. Oh crap, although I just realized that might have to wait. I haven't gone back into the office to pick up my personal effects yet, since I was working from home yesterday when they delivered the news. I might have to head back in, or I should go back in today at some point, pick up my stuff. Is this a game I plan to make multiplayer? No. No. This is a single player experience. I don't really think multiplayer would add anything except complexity for me, which is not a fun idea. Okay, spawn berry bushes. Dum. Have I quit my job? No, I was laid off yesterday. I'm free. Kinda, sorta. Free with severance and cashed out maximum vacation time. How it goes. Let's see here. Game world node, spawn bushes. So we need to dive. Okay, I see what has to happen here. We'll say bushes per square area, and we'll make a lot less of them. In fact, a significantly less area. And what we're going to do is we are going to just append things straight to the game world. Good luck with you, Mr. Monkey, as well, with your programming stuff. It's always an interesting thing to get into programming, especially if you have the interest. It's really fun to get into. It can be something that is really exciting. This is my hobby. Like, my free time tends to get devoted to this kind of crazy stuff, which is really cool. I'm not going to do these group nodes at all. In fact, we're just going to go straight to position. Yeah, Chakma, I definitely want to be on Twitch more often, and I would like, the hope is that there will be an opportunity here for me to actually find a job in the game industry. Cloud gaming was nice, but I'm not a huge fan of the actual the difference between my specialties and the kind of work I was doing. It didn't allow me to really excel in some of the areas I'm good at, which is fine. It paid the bills, but at the same time, it's really nice to be able to actually, let's see, we don't want a tree controller on this. Berry bush, there we go. It's a good opportunity. It's kind of a breath of fresh air. It's nice to be able to get out of one environment and change environments every once in a while, even if it's just a professional environment. What do I recommend for someone who's not great at coding graphic stuff, but using Unity is too visual and not enough coding? Unfortunately, right now, there's nothing that's really good at the in-between. Trying to think. I mean, if you don't mind 2D and you know JavaScript, I would say go for Impact.js. It's a fairly cheap engine, last I checked. Let's see here. I don't want to say that and then have it be like a $100, $200 engine. But, let's see here. Oh god, it's $100. Really? The price went up? Oof. That's unfortunate. I think I paid like 60 or 70 for it. Oof. Oh well. I would say that's a great engine though for somebody who's kind of wanting a medium between the two. And because it's JavaScript, it lets you prototype very quickly. And it's HTML5, so you can just dump stuff onto the web and tell people to try it. This should work. I say should. Also, some of my code still says tree in it when it should be bush count. There we go. I don't see any berry bushes. Oh, because it's using the tree model. Of course, of course, of course, of course. Let's see. Holy heck, they're huge. Oh my gosh. The berry bushes, they're taking over. Well, there's problem number one. Are there any OpenGL wrappers that make it easy to draw pics and stuff? I think, what is it? GLFW3? That's an easy framework to use. Although, once again, I haven't delved into that low level of OpenGL stuff in a while. Yeah, let's make these bushes a little smaller. And in fact, I think it's the asset that's partially way too huge. So let's take the asset first and downsize it. Of course. Nope. There we go. Now you'll notice it's not touching 0 anymore. Let's make its size a quarter of the original and bring it back down to 0. There we go. Okay. Save it. Export it. I should really just write a script to do all this for me. Save, export, quit Blender, open engine. Let's see here. Here's our berry bush. We are going to throw out all of this. And then in here, we're going to not load from model. We're just going to re-import the scene. And then re-grab all this and reset the material. There we go. That should be at least a decent size instead of honkin' huge. Worst case, I can actually come in here and do a little bit of last second modifications, but Should be good. Okay, they're as tall as the trees, but it's an improvement, right? That's what we're looking for here. So, probably having its size once more will be good enough. I should have left Blender running. Berry bush. Scale 0.5 yet again. Just to get it the rest of the way there. There we go. Berry bush, OpenGEX, let's get that in, and then, let's see here. Oh gosh, chat's flying. Okay, nothing that requires my attention, I don't think. Doesn't look like it. Cool. Back to work. We've done this. I don't remember if I exported it. I probably did, but just to make sure, I'm going to export it again, and I'm going to leave this running because I learned my lesson. Goodbye everything, world import scene, berry bush. Bush, berries, reset your material. There we go, tiny little berry bush. It's so tiny, it's so cute. Tiny, tiny, tiny. Okay, save to model resource, berry bush. Yes, save, close. Load world. Better. Now you'll notice that because they're added into the scene separately, that they're not actually put into the visibility system yet. We can futz with that later. It's especially funny since, like, the trees are invisible, and yet okay, so Alright, so we've got these in here, and we need to essentially extend the job system for the AI to do a few things. They need to be able to recognize, and this is where we start getting into the need for me to update the job system into a hierarchical job system, because right now the problem is the job system as is completely flat. Every job has an equal priority, and we don't really care a ton, at least, about kind of about the stuff that's going on that may kill somebody. It doesn't bother them that they may run out of food because they have another job that currently has a higher priority. So this is where, well, first off, because I have to run off, I'm just kind of talking a lot, and I'll take questions before I take off. I'll probably be back on later tonight, maybe. I say that questioningly because I have, like, resumes to send out and actual job hunting things to do. Plus I need to head back into the office and pick up my claptrap and what is he? He's a Dr. Potenant head? Something like that. It's a 10th Dr. Potato Head my girlfriend got me. It's really cute. Plus all my other gear. I need to go in and grab that stuff from the office at some point and drop off my security card today. So, I will have to take off, but essentially I think the next big jobs, or the next thing I do on stream is going to be pretty large. My big tasks are the current landscaping system, the terrain generator, has to go. Or at least it has to get completely replaced by something that generates a more reliable terrain structure. Because this is nice. But what you can't see, actually what I can demonstrate without you being able to see, you can see there are these giant pieces of land that are one type, and it's this kind of monstrous and ugly thing that sits on the side. So that's kind of one big problem that I need to remedy, and remedy soon. Just so I can have a larger terrain set to work with. it's no fun if, you know, you spawn here and your enemies spawn here and they just proceed to kick your ass immediately. So that's one thing. The other thing is I need to get the AI to run in what's called a hierarchical state machine, such that higher and lower priority tasks will then proceed to make a difference in how the AI is running. So they're not going to just cut trees until they die. They're going to go, oh, I'm low on food. We should go find berry trees so that we don't starve to death. Or, you know, maybe we should go at least do little things to keep them from being complete idiots all the time. Also, there needs to be a little work done in the AI section so that they don't all go running off to the same tree. You can't see it right now. In fact, you can see the trees falling over, but you can't actually see them all. They all kind of converge on a tree and cut that one tree down very quick and then proceed to move from one tree to the next with a kind of insane group precision. So it's on the list of things that, oh, okay, here we go. He's picking up food. And they pick up food really fast, I guess. And now you can see the food going back up. Okay, good. So that's still working. So anyway, these are the kind of big things that I have to work on next, and this is probably going to be something that's going to take up most, if not all, of tomorrow. But everything seems to be going well so far. I'm still making progress, and yeah, things are going well. If you guys have any questions before I sign off, for now, possibly for today, probably for today, given the number of other things I have to go do. If you have any questions, please feel free, toss them in the chat. I'm going to ponder a little more, maybe submit some of my code just so that nothing disappears. So at bare minimum, I can come back and refactor and fix things up. Adds berry bushes. Plus a controller to generate food. Warning, no mechanism to harvest food at this point. Whee! Submit that. Let's close down Blender, get other things going. Well, thanks again, guys, for joining me. It's been fantastic to have you all here. Today was a 3.5 hours of game development. I will be back on tomorrow. I will do another couple hours at bare minimum, if only because I've got the time and I'm not up to much else. So, I'm really having fun with this whole no job thing. It's actually pretty freaking cool. Granted, it's only my first day, so I'm probably going to lose my mind after a while, but that's cool. You guys get to watch me go crazy. Hey! So anyway, thanks again. If you guys liked what you saw, please hit the follow button. You can kind of keep in touch with how the game is going over various streams. If you want to see previous streams, my YouTube channel, I've been trying to put up as many streams as I can on my YouTube channel. I've been having trouble because a lot of the music I tend to listen to while I program is copyrighted, and so YouTube keeps catching my videos and shutting them down. So if you can't see them there, then on the Twitch past broadcasts section, you can actually see up to like 2 weeks worth of my previous stuff. So if you want to see more, check it out there. Either way, thanks again for joining me, guys, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.